What's up guys, Hungrybox here. As you can tell, I'm finally back home in Orlando, which I'm very glad about. Back in my element, my rig, everything's nice and where I want it to be. But there's a lot to unpack here because we have a doozy of a drop. Essentially, and I had to wear my nice shirt for this one too, again. Nintendo has dropped the ball once again, but this time they dropped it on the new Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, which launched this week. As a reminder, this expansion pack is an extra $30 per year on top of the original $20 a lot of us are already shelling out just to have online. And the big pull for this Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack was, of course, the fact that you can play a bunch of new Virtual Console games, most namely Nintendo 64. There was a lot of hype about this. It was actually one of my favorite parts about the most previous Nintendo Direct, and I thought it was really, really cool. I know it was only a matter of time. We had NES titles and SNES titles, and now, of course, N64 making its debut alongside Sega Genesis, Neo Geo, and some others. So it was a really cool feature to have, you know, sort of like, hey, if you get online, this is like the reward that you get. This is like the big perk of it. And honestly, I thought it was a really cool idea. But apparently, there's trouble in paradise, as there always is. So let's begin with this. So the N64 titles that are included are incredibly poor, with a ton of technical issues. There's actually an extreme amount of input lag, audio lag, frame rate issues, the fact that you can't change your controls, and even specific issues for unique games as well. I've collected a few tweets here to sort of show you that. S-Metal Dave 64 pointed these out. There's graphical effects missing in Zelda, probably Ocarina of Time, and there's missing save features in Mario Kart, which I'll go more deep into in a second. But these were basically the launch titles for this Nintendo 64 and Switch Online, which of course is dropped. So basically, as for example, the button mapping is one big thing, and Shiori_Ishimaru shows it out here. Not only do they not allow you to customize the controls, but they don't even maintain the same button layout, ensuring with some real control issues with N64 games. So this is the kind of the screen that you get, right, when you try to remap your controllers. It shows that on the right-hand side, it's left C-stick, down C-stick is the up one. So left C-stick is I think X, down stick is Y, A is A and B is B, or vice versa. And then if you want to actually use your C sticks, or your C pad, I guess is the best way to call it, you got to hold ZR and then the inputs. So it's just oddly configured. It doesn't feel very ergonomic, especially with what some of the games demand. And of course, a big facet of this is that the speedrunning community, you know, they're going to have a new platform now to play their games on, but it seems to be not worth it, you know, keeping this in mind. You know, and here's your controller, of course. It just doesn't really make sense to translate the buttons from here, the way they are mapped out, with the 6 buttons on the right, to here, with 4 buttons and then like a macro input for it. It just doesn't, it's not smooth, right? It doesn't feel cohesive, just even looking at it. I haven't even tried it, just even looking at it, it just doesn't look cohesive. So when you don't use an N64 controller on the Switch to play the N64 games, which, by the way, Nintendo was selling an exclusive N64 controller to play on the Virtual Console, which is still sold out currently on their online store. When you don't use that, the game automatically maps the buttons to the Joy-Cons or Pro Controller, and the chosen controllers here, as we just saw, don't always make sense. You can't change them. You can't change them. And so in Mario 64, you know, the fact that C left and down are the 2 main buttons, it should have been 2 matching buttons, maybe like C up and down or C left, C to the right. It just doesn't make any sense. Next up, Mario Kart 64. This one's kind of funny. I'll show you a little screen grab that I have here from Mario Kart 64. It was a tweet from MJDJR1998. LOL, you can't save data on the Mario Kart 64 Switch emulation. And if you look right here, when you try to save ghost data, it says no N64 controller pack detected to save ghost data. Insert N64 controller pack into controller 1. So it kind of just seems like they just like ported the game without taking into consideration that the N64 had these like unique exclusive expansion packs that you needed to play certain games. I remember one of them that comes to the top of my mind was Donkey Kong 64. Without it, you can't play it. And then on the Switch, it's just like they should have thought this through and sort of gone into the code, maybe reconfigured it a little bit. This just seems very like sloppy, it's a bit messy, it's unprofessional for a first-party game to be re-released on a first-party console and for all the features to not be working. I mean, this is Nintendo we're talking about. This is like multi-billion-dollar Nintendo, and it seems like they just like, from my experience, like they put in just an N64 emulator that someone homebrewed, chucked it into the Switch, and hope for the best. So that's not a good thing at all. It's very surprising to see that you legitimately cannot play your Ghost data. It's just funny. Like these are important things in these games. It's a racing game, right? Granted, one thing to say is that this was an issue back on the Wii as well. So when you bought Mario Kart 64 on the Wii's Virtual Console, this is also an issue. But we still shouldn't leave it out. The fact that it's been that long and they still haven't like done anything to rectify it, it's just kind of weird. Next up, we have input lag, right? So input lag on Ocarina of Time is incredibly bad. There's a video here that shows it. Let me see if I can zoom out for you guys. You can see just right here the amount of time it takes to register that input. Renders the game, I'm not going to say unplayable, but it's much, much worse of an experience. Especially if you're a speedrunner. I would never play on anything with that much input delay. So that's very disheartening to see. And it's prevalent in all controller options, by the way. This is regardless if you're wireless or not. It appears to be the same thing. There's even sort of, like I said, game-specific issues too. Ocarina of Time was actually properly emulated when it was released back on the Wii Virtual Console. But the Switch version can't properly show many reflections, instances of fog, or water. And these are, you know, really important aesthetic parts of a game, which takes place in nature, outside, you know, like most Legend of Zelda games. It's just weird. So we have some examples here from @StopSkeletons. Here's N64, right? This is a standard thing we see. We see the water, we see the fog. Here's the Wii Virtual Console. Again, stretched out. It looks a little upscaled, but you can see the reflections and all that. And the Switch. I mean, look at this. What's happening here? What happened to the water? Why does the water look like granite? It looks like you're outside in a playground. It's just weird. Where did the fog go? It's just an eerie lime backdrop. I mean, guys, if we're paying $50 a year for this for online, you better give us at least, you know, the games properly emulated. So it is odd, right? You have games like Mario Kart, which had issues. It still exists on the Wii Virtual Console, but you have games like Ocarina of Time, which have brand new issues. At least make it consistent. It's just very, very weird. So with all this being said, let me remind you that back on the Wii Virtual Console, you could pay a single price per game for about $10 per N64 title in 2006, 15 years ago, and keep it forever, right? And the system did a way better job at emulating it too. They even allowed you to upgrade the titles to the Wii U Virtual Console with a massive discount. Long story short, and I think I've said most of what I want to say here, the Switch implementation is both overpriced and I think incredibly sloppy. And I think we deserve a lot more from this. I would like to see an update from Nintendo on this or some kind of patch, but I don't think it'll be likely. And one more thing to keep in mind about this is, dude, if this is how the N64 games were ported onto the Switch, could you imagine GameCube? Could you imagine what they would have done to Melee? I don't even want to think about it. Maybe it's for the best Melee HD didn't exist, but damn. Yeah, this is the current state of things when it comes to the new Switch Online, and also when it comes to the idea of improving the online experience. As far as we know, it's identical. So you're paying an extra $30 a year, and you get the games, but input lag, graphic issues, in-game issues, controller configuration issues, something's got to be fixed. Otherwise, this is not worth it at all. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you going to buy this new Nintendo Switch Online? I guess you have to if you're going to play online. But are you going to try these games out? Do you think it's as big of an issue as people are saying? Mind you, I have seen some other people say that some of the games run really well. Notably, Yoshi's Island 64, things like that. I have seen some good things, but namely, especially across socials, the general consensus was it was very sloppily implemented, and people are upset. So let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, if you're enjoying the video, subscribe and like, and do whatever it is you Zoomers do. Alright, until next time, I'll see you.